Dear students, in today's class we'll discuss Blondel's two-reaction theory or theory of salient pole machine. It is one of the important VTU question which will be asked for 8 to 10 marks in the final VTU exam. Okay, so let us see the description here. In salient pole type alternators, the length of air gap and the reluctance also varies. Hence, the armature flux and the field flux cannot vary sinusoidally in the air gap. The reluctances of the magnetic circuits on which MMF act are different in case of salient pole alternators. So let me draw the salient pole alternator diagram here. So your salient pole alternator, it will be of this kind. Salient pole rotor. I hope you have studied this type of salient pole rotor, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the salient pole machine, salient pole rotor it is. Okay, so here you can see that air gap, it is not uniform. This is the rotor and here this will be air gap, and here air gap is minimum and here air gap is maximum. Here it is minimum and here it is maximum. So all the time air gap will be keeps on changing. So if air gap is keeps on changing, then automatically reluctances, that is opposition offered to the flow of magnetic field, that will also be keeps on changing. Because of that, what will happen? Armature flux and the field flux, they cannot vary sinusoidally in the air gap, because here air gap is keeps on changing, accordingly reluctance will be changing. Because of that, armature flux and field flux will not move sinusoidally. Okay, then hence the armature and field MMFs cannot be treated in a simple way as it can be treated in salient pole alternator. In salient pole alternator, we say that what is that, armature flux as well as field flux, they will be moving sinusoidally. But in the case of what is that, non-salient salient pole machine, sorry, in case of salient pole machine, where air gap is minimum here and here it is maximum, because of the change in the length in the air gap, reluctance or opposition offered to the flow of flux will be keeps on changing, flux or MMF. Because of that, field flux and the armature flux, they are not in the sinusoidal waveform shape. Okay, and now here you can see that hence the armature and field MMF or flux cannot be treated in a simple way as they can be treated in non-salient pole alternator. The theory which gives the method of analysis of the distributing effects caused by the salient pole construction is called two-reaction theory. So here it is a theory proposed by Professor Andre Blondel, and that theory is all about how the fluxes will be distributed. Armature flux and what is that, field flux, how it is getting and distributed because of the construction of construction of salient pole machine. So here you can see that construction is such that at one side air gap, length of air gap is minimum, at one side length of air gap is maximum. So because of this kind of construction, the distribution effects of armature flux and the field flux, it will not be sinusoidal. So how that distribution of flux is going to take place, everything it will be explained in the case of this Blondel's two-reaction theory. What all components that armature reaction flux is having, armature flux is having, how many components it is having, how it is distributed along quadrature axis, how it is distributed along what is that, direct axis, what are the features of direct axis pole, what are the features of quadrature axis pole, everything it is discussed in this Blondel's two-reaction theory. Okay. Now, the theory which uses the method of analysis of the distributing effects means how the armature flux is distributed, that is nothing but distributing effects caused by the salient pole construction, is called two-reaction theory. Professor Andre Blondel has put forward the two-reaction theory. So the what is that, person called as Professor Andre Blondel, he has put this theory, what is that, two-reaction theory. Now, according to this theory, the armature MMF can be divided into two components. So here, the armature conductor, whenever it is going to carry the current, it will produce the armature flux or the armature MMF. Okay. So now this armature MMF, because of the armature current, it is having two components. Okay. The component one is, let us see here, component one acting along the pole axis called direct axis. So the armature flux or the armature MMF, it is having two components. The one which is acting along pole axis, it is called as direct axis. The one which is acting along pole axis is called direct axis, and the component acting and the armature MMF component acting along or at the right angles to the pole axis is called quadrature axis. Okay. Armature flux, it is divided to two components, or the armature MMF is divided to two components. One acting along the pole axis, that is called as direct axis component, and the other component which is acting right angles to the pole axis or the direct axis, that is called as quadrature axis. Okay. Then component acting along direct axis can be magnetizing or demagnetizing. So the armature MMF which is acting along direct axis, that can be either magnetizing or demagnetizing. Okay. It might be magnetizing. Magnetizing means what? It will help the armature MMF to increase. Sorry, main MMF to increase. Demagnetizing means what? It will oppose to the main MMF. That is the meaning. Main MMF means what? MMF produced by the field winding. Okay. The component acting along quadrature axis is cross magnetizing. So what will be the nature of the armature MMF which is distributed along direct axis? The one which is distributed along direct axis, it might be either magnetizing or demagnetizing, and the component which is along quadrature axis, it will be cross magnetizing in nature. Okay. The components produce the effects of different kinds. Okay. Now this armature component which is along direct axis, that might be either magnetizing or demagnetizing, and the component acting along quadrature axis, it will be cross magnetizing in nature. And now these components, they will produce what? Different kinds of effects. The components produce the effects of different kinds. Okay. As shown in figure dot. Then figure dot A shows the stator MMF wave and the flux distribution in the air gap. So figure dot A, let us see what is that figure dot A now. Figure dot A shows what? Stator MMF wave and the flux distribution in the air gap along direct axis and quadrature axis of the pole. So now let us see figure dot A. So this is figure dot A, which is going to represent flux distribution, stator MMF in the air gap. So this is the stator MMF lines. This is the stator MMF lines along the air gap. Along the air gap. So this is the air gap. How the flux is distributed, that too related to the stator part. And this is the stator MMF along direct axis. Okay. So this is direct pole axis, and this is for quadrature pole axis. So now if you see the waveform of the MMF wave, what is that waveform of the MMF wave along direct axis? It will be almost sinusoidal in nature. Yes or no? It is one kind of sinusoidal kind of signal or the waveform. If you see the armature MMF along quadrature axis, it is just like semicircle. It is just like semicircle. Now, if you check the distribution of the stator MMF along the air gap, that too for direct axis and quadrature axis, do you find the waveform, is it similar or is it symmetrical or is it sinusoidal?
No.
It is
It
not.
is not
It is not symmetrical nor it is sinusoidal. So it will be flux will be keeps on changing here. So distribution of the stator MMF wave is not sinusoidal in nature along direct axis as well as in the quadrature axis. I can see if along direct axis it is near to the sinusoidal, but if you see the stator MMF wave distribution along quadrature axis, it is non-sinusoidal or it is unsymmetrical. Okay. Then figure dot A shows the stator MMF wave and the flux distribution in the air gap along direct axis and quadrature axis of the pole. then the reluctance offered to the MMF wave is lowest when it is aligned with the field pole axis. So here, what is that? Whenever the MMF wave, when it is aligned with along the field pole, then the reluctance offered is what? The reluctance offered is very low. Okay. When MMF wave, it is aligned with the field pole axis or the direct axis, then it is experiencing this MMF wave, it is experiencing very less reluctance, very less opposition. Here, reluctance is very, very less. Whereas, and this axis is called direct axis of the pole, that is D axis. So the axis which offers least reluctance for the MMF wave, that axis we call it as direct axis. So whenever this MMF wave, it is along the field pole axis, then it experiences very less reluctance, and that that axis we call it as direct axis or pole axis. Similarly, the MMF wave, when it is 90 degree to the field pole or the direct axis pole, then it is going to experience highest opposition, highest reluctance, and that axis we call it as what? Quadrature axis. Okay, let us see here. The reluctance offered is highest when the MMF wave is oriented at 90 degree to the pole axis. 90 degree to the pole axis means 90 degree to the which axis? 90 degree to the
Field pole axis.
D axis, direct axis. With respect to that, if it is 90 degree, then it is quadrature axis. So there, the MMF wave is having maximum reluctance. So quadrature axis offers maximum reluctance for the MMF wave, whereas direct axis or the pole axis offers minimum reluctance for the MMF wave. Okay, because of that change in the reluctance value, you can observe there is a change in the wave shape of the scatter MMF wave because of the change in the different types of reluctance. So for what is that? Direct axis. So this is for direct axis where reluctance is, opposition is minimum. Because of that, the stator MMF wave is almost, it is sinusoidal. If you check the quadrature axis MMF wave, where it is experiencing maximum or highest reluctance of the highest opposition, there it is not, the stator MMF wave is not having sinusoidal shape. Okay. The reluctance offered is highest when the MMF wave is oriented at 90 degree. Oriented at 90 degree means it is quadrature axis. So quadrature axis gives more reluctance and field or the direct axis gives less reluctance for the stator MMF wave. Okay. Oriented 90 degree to the field pole axis, which is called quadrature axis. That is Q. In short, we call it as Q axis. Okay. The air gap is least in the center. The air gap is least in the center of the poles and progressively increasing on moving away from the center. Okay. Due to such shape of the pole shoes, the field winding wound on the salient pole produces the MMF wave, which is nearly sinusoidal, and it is always acting along the pole axis, which is in direct axis. So because of this, what is that? Change in the air gap, length in the air gap, you can see here. So here, this is what? This is having minimum length in the air gap, and here it is also minimum length in the air gap. But whereas at the center, air gap length is minimum, and at this position, air gap length is maximum. Here it is minimum, here it is maximum. So if you check throughout the periphery for 360 degree, the air gap is keeps on changing here. Yes or no? So because of this change in the air gap, there is a change in the reluctance. So reluctance offered will be minimum when MMF wave is resting along direct axis or the pole axis, and it is maximum, and reluctance is maximum when it is resting along 90 degree, that is quadrature axis. Because of this change in the length in the air gap, it will offer different types of reluctance, different types of opposition. Opposition will be more when MMF wave is 90 degree with respect to direct axis or the pole axis, and reluctance will be minimum when MMF wave is resting along pole axis. So because of this kind of nature, you can find that flux distribution, that is for stator wave flux distribution, it is almost sinusoidal for direct axis, and it is far away from the sinusoidal nature for quadrature axis. That is, it is non-sinusoidal in nature. Okay. Then let FF be the MMF wave produced by the field winding. Let FF, what is this FF now? FF be the MMF wave produced by the field winding. So FF is the MMF or the flux that is produced by the field winding. Then it always acts along the direct axis. So because direct axis is nothing but the pole axis. Pole axis means the axis which uses the field wave. What is that? Magnetic field. That is nothing but FF. Okay. Let FF be the MMF wave produced by the field winding. Field winding produces what? One MMF signal or the MMF wave, which is denoted as F to the suffix F. Then it always acts along the direct axis. So this field axis is always acting along direct axis or the pole axis. This MMF is responsible to produce an excitation EMF which lags FF by an angle of 90 degrees. So now this FF is nothing but what? Field. Field is nothing but what? It is nothing but what? Flux.
Flux.
Yes, and this and we know that this flux gives us what? Voltage, because voltage is directly proportional to the flux. So more will be the field current or the field MMF, more will be the voltage. So because of this MMF wave, you are observing there will be what? Induced EMF. Then it is always, you can see here, let FF be the MMF wave produced by the field winding. Okay, this FF is the field that is produced by the field winding, which is going to give us FF or the flux value pi. Then it always acts along the direct axis. This MMF is responsible to produce an excitation EMF. So now because of this FF, there will be excitation voltage EF. This voltage is because of the field flux. That voltage is denoted as EF now. And this voltage, it lags FF by an angle 90 degrees. So now this is going to, this excitation voltage produced because of the field flux FF, it is going to lag to the FF by an angle of 90 degree. Okay. You can later on, all these things lagging nature, we are going to represent it using what is that? Phasor diagram that we will see now. Okay. When armature carries current, it produces its own MMF wave. So now, till now, we have seen current is field is produced by what? Field winding, and that field winding, it produces the field FF, and this field, it is going to produce once again voltage, that is excitation voltage, because of the field MMF, that is EF. So this is all with respect to the field winding. This is all with respect to the, this is all because of field winding of the alternate salient pole machine. Now the next explanation starts with armature winding now. Okay, so now your salient pole machine, along with the field winding, it is also having what? Armature winding. Okay, so now when armature carries current, it produces its own MMF wave. So now if armature carries the current IA, it is going to produce its own field. That field we call it as armature field, FAR. Okay, when armature carries current, it produces its own MMF wave, and it is denoted as FAR. This can be resolved into two components. So this armature MMF wave, it is having two components. One acting along direct axis. So the one acting along direct axis, that might be either one acting along direct axis, and that will be either magnetizing or demagnetizing, and the one acting along quadrature axis, that is x-axis, that will be cross magnetizing, and giving the effect of cross magnetizing. Okay. Similarly, armature current IA also divided into two components, one acting along direct axis and another acting along quadrature axis. These components are denoted as here. When armature current carries the current, armature winding carries the current, it is going to produce its own field. Then that field is divided into two components, one acting along the direct axis, that is denoted by FD, and the other acting along quadrature axis, that is denoted by FQ. FD component acting along direct axis, FQ armature flux or the armature MMF that is acting along quadrature axis. Similarly, the same armature current, it is divided into two components, one acting along direct axis, another acting along quadrature axis. Okay. So ID is the component along direct axis and IQ is the component along quadrature axis. Okay. So now we will represent all these things. Position of IFAR. FAR is what? Field MMF because MMF because of the armature winding. Position of FAR, FD, FQ in space are shown in below figure F dot B. So this is below figure F dot B, which is going to represent MMF wave position in salient pole machine. MMF wave means what? So here this is for position of FAR. So this is FAR position. You can see here, this is FD. The FD means this is the field flux, armature field flux along direct axis, and this is along quadrature axis, and the resultant is what? FAR. Similarly, this is field X. This is the FF line. FF means what? Field produced because of this line. This is FF. Field produced by the field winding. Field produced or the MMF produced by the field winding, and this will be always resting along direct axis. So this is my direct axis. And 90-degree ahead will be what? Quadrature axis. So this is direct axis, this is D axis, and 90-degree to this will be quadrature axis, Q axis. Along quadrature, along direct axis, we will be having field MMF, that is FF, and here this is next other components, FD, then FQ, FAR. All the armature components we are showing at this point. And here we have considered only R phase of the alternator. Only we have taken only single phase, that is R phase, just for making the explanation more clear. But in real time it will be the representation for three phases. But to make the things more clear, we have considered only axis of coil R dash, means here we have considered only R phase of the conductor. R phase conductor, it is having two terminals, that is R and R dash. That is the meaning. Axis of R and R dash. Okay, so this is direct axis, this is quadrature axis. Along direct axis it will be FF. Okay, and this is R phase coil. Then the instant chosen to show this position is such that current in phase R is maximum positive and is lagging EF by an angle of psi. So here in this case, the explanation is such that the instant chosen to show this position is such that current in phase R is maximum positive. So here current is maximum in the phase R, and it is lagging to the voltage, and it is lagging to the what is that? Induced voltage EF, and it is lagging to the induced voltage EF by an angle of psi. So this is the psi angle. Psi you can observe here. So this is psi angle. Okay. Then phasor diagram corresponding to the positions considered in figure in the below figure dot C. So now whatever we have seen, that is field MMF, armature MMF once again, which is having two components, one acting along direct axis, another acting along quadrature axis, armature current having ID and IQ. All those things now we are going to represent it using phasor diagram here. So this is pole axis or the direct axis, D axis, and 90-degree to that will be quadrature axis. So this is D axis, and this is 90-degree Q axis. So here along direct axis we are showing for what? FF. So this is field MMF, FF, and because of this FF we are getting EF value, induced excitation voltage because of the field MMF, and that EF it is lagging. This EF it is lagging to what? FF by certain angle, that is exactly 90 degrees. So this is EF value. So this is EF. EF is along quadrature axis, and along direct axis we are having FF. So first we are showing for field MMF quantities. Field MMF, that is FF along direct axis, and EF which is produced because of FF lags to the EF by an angle of 90 degree, and this EF exactly lying with respect to Q axis. Is it clear? Now we'll show for
Yes.
The armature components. Armature components means what? Armature winding, whenever it is going to carry the current, it will be having how many components? Two components. One is along direct axis, another acting along quadrature axis. So now here in this case, this this is my armature current. This is the armature current, and now this armature current, it is divided into two components. One acting along quadrature axis. This is IQ. This is IQ because it is quadrature axis. Similarly, the armature component which is acting along direct axis. This is my direct axis, means this will be ID. Similarly, there will be what? Field armature field, right? So that is nothing but now this will be FAR, field because of the armature winding. And now this FAR, it will be having two components that is distributed, one acting along quadrature axis. So this is my FQ along x-axis, and this is what? One acting along direct axis. So this is FD. Okay. Similarly, it will be having the phase pi AR. And now this pi R, once again, this divide along direct axis. This is pi D. This angle is pi D, and along quadrature axis, this will be pi Q. Is it clear, all of you? So this blue color line indicates distribution of the MMF wave, that too of field winding, where initially along direct axis we will be having field MMF. Because of this, we will be getting excitation EMF. This excitation EMF lags to the FF by an angle of 90 degree. Okay, so this will be leading and this will be lagging. And now the armature current, what is that? IA, it is divided into armature current IA. It is divided into two components, one acting along quadrature axis, another acting along. One acting along quadrature axis is, this is IQ, and another acting along quadrature axis, direct axis is ID. Similarly, FAR, one acting along quadrature axis FQ, one acting along direct axis FD. Similarly, the phase angle pi AR means acting along quadrature axis, it will be angle will be pi Q, and the component acting along quadrature axis, that angle will be pi D. Is it clear? Now here we have shown all the values for armature armature MMF and field MMF, and the components now of the armature, they are distributed to two components, one acting along direct axis, another acting along quadrature axis, everything. So this figure dot C tells us basic phasor diagram for salient pole machine. Is it clear? At the end, you should draw all this phasor diagram by indicating everything. Yes?
Understood, sir.
Okay. Then let us see now. Armature current IA lags EF by an angle of psi. So this we have seen in the above diagram. Armature current IA lags to the EF. This is my armature current, and this is EF. What is the angle here? Angle between IA and
Psi.
EF is what? Psi. Armature current IA lags EF by an angle of psi. It can be observed that FD is produced by ID. Yes or no? This armature field, that two demagnetizing component, the armature component which is along direct axis, it is produced because of the armature current that is acting along ID, which is at 90 degree to EF, while FQ is produced because of current IQ, which is in phase with EF. So here we have represented all the values. So IA current, it is divided into two components, ID and IQ. And because of these currents, you will be finding what? Field, armature field, FAR. And this FAR is divided into two components, FQ and FD. This FQ is because of IQ, and these all things will be in phase with what? EF. All they will be in phase with the EF along quadrature axis. Similarly, ID produces FD. ID produces FD, and all they will be along which axis?
Direct axis.
Direct axis. Armature current IA lags EF by an angle of psi. It can be observed that FD is produced by ID, which is at 90 degree to EF, while FQ is produced by IQ, which is in phase with EF. Okay. The flux components of pi AR. What is this pi AR now? Pi AR, resultant phase angle because of armature winding. Okay. Flux value. The flux components of pi AR. So whenever armature, what is that? Armature winding carries the current, it is going to produce the flux, that is pi AR. And once again, this flux produced by the armature winding, AR stands for armature flux. It is divided into two components, one acting along direct axis, that is pi d, and another acting along quadrature axis, it is pi q. Okay, pi r, which are pi d and pi q along direct axis and quadrature axis respectively. Here you can see this is my pi AR, which is armature flux. It is divided into two components, that is pi d along direct axis, pi q along quadrature axis. And now if you see here, this pi AR, it is not lying in line with the FAR and IA. Here you can see that IA and FAR, both they are coming in the same line, both they are in line with each other. But if you see the pi AR line, this pi AR line flux because of the armature reaction, this is not in line with the FAR and IA. Can you notice this difference?
Yes, sir.
This pi AR, it is close to the direct axis and it is away from the quadrature axis. Yes, pi AR, here it is very close to the direct axis and it is away from the quadrature axis. Can you tell me what is the reason for that? The reason is very simple, because this armature flux, it is very close to the direct axis, means direct axis it is having lowest reluctance. So flux will be more at the least reluctance path, that is direct axis. Whereas quadrature axis, it is characterized by what? Highest reluctance, highest opposition. Because of that, this pi r, it will be away from the quadrature axis and it will be very close to the direct axis. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
This pi AR flux because of the armature winding, it is very close to the direct axis. The reason is very simple, because direct axis, it is characterized by lowest reluctance path. So always flux chooses what? Lowest reluctance path, that is pi d. So it will be very close to the pi d. Whereas quadrature axis, it is having highest opposition, that is highest reluctance. So it will be away from the quadrature axis. So pi r, it will be close to the pi d and it will be away from the pi q, that is the quadrature axis. The flux components of pi r, which are pi d and pi q along the direct and quadrature axis, are respectively shown in figure .b, the same diagram whatever I have told now. It can be noted that reactance offered to the flux along direct axis is less than the reactance offered to the flux along quadrature axis. Due to this, flux pi AR is no longer along FAR or IA. So here, as I told you, what is that? Reluctance will be keeps on changing because of the fact the change in the length in the air gap. Because of that, direct axis offers less reluctance and quadrature axis offers more opposition, that is reluctance. Because of that, this pi AR, it will not be in line with the IA and FAR, and in turn pi r, it will be very near to the pi d and it will be away from the pi q because of the change in reluctance, because of change in the length in air gap, because of the construction of salient pole machine. It can be noted that reactance offered to the flux along the direct axis is less. Here, reluctance will be less than the reactance offered to the flux along quadrature axis, where quadrature axis is having more reluctance. Due to this, the flux pi r is no longer along FAR or IA. So pi r, it will be not in line with the FAR or IA. Depending upon the reluctances offered along the direct and quadrature axis, the flux pi r lags behind IA. So now, depending upon the depending upon the reluctances, depending upon the how much opposition it is experiencing, then along direct and quadrature axis, the flux pi r lags behind IA. So now here you can see that this pi r, it is lagging behind IA or FAR. Yes or no? IA and FAR, they are in line, but whereas pi r, it is lagging with respect to the IA. Because of the reason, it is having different direct axis and quadrature axis, they are having different reluctances. depending upon the reluctances offered along with the direct and quadrature axis, the flux pi r lags behind IA. So all these things you have to, whatever we have discussed now, everything it will be depicted in this phasor diagram. So whatever the things I have explained here, these all things you should write and explain in the theory part. If the question is like on with the need sketch explain two reaction theory in case of salient pole machine. Is it clear all of you?
Yes, sir.
So this two reaction theory, it is a theory related to the salient pole machine where the length of air gap is keeps on changing. At the center it will be minimum and at the other side it will be maximum. So this change in the air gap length changes the reluctance. Because of that, field MMF and armature MMF, they will not move sinusoidally in the air gap. And that stator MMF wave, it will be different. And you can see with the help of this diagram here. With the help of this diagram. So here it will experience more reluctance and here it will experience less, here it will experience less reluctance, here it will experience more reluctance. The one where it experiences less reluctance is direct axis and it is having almost sinusoidal waveform, and here it will be experiencing more reluctance, that is at quadrature axis. Here waveform is not sinusoidal. So then you should explain for field winding MMF and armature winding MMF. Then the components are divided into two components, one along quadrature axis, another along direct axis. All those things, whatever we have explained here, with the help of R phase only, we have to, only single R phase consideration, we have to explain this diagram. And after that, whatever the things you have explained, everything you have to write it in the form of phasor diagram here. Yes. So this is one of the important question from module 5, which will be asked for 8 to 10 marks in the final evaluative exam. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So all of you get prepared for this question. Okay. Have a good day.